friends, how's it going? We've got an interesting topic in this video. This was a product that I saw on Ulta's website and it just seems so unique and so unlike anything I'd ever used. I really wanted to give it a try and I have been trying it over the course of the past 4 or 5 days. It's a couple of things actually from Grande Cosmetics. It's the Grande Glow and the Grande Pop, and this is a plumping liquid blush and a plumping liquid highlighter. So I really wanted to test these out. They say 96% saw plumper cheeks with these products. 90% saw natural cheek lift. Now this was based on a consumer study with 31 subjects. These are creamy, sort of liquidy products. You're gonna apply them with the little like doe foot applicator. Actually, it's a rather large doe foot. That might even be getting into the buck foot category. You're just gonna dab this on the skin. They say blend it out with your fingers, and then you do actually have a feeling that comes from these products. It's really like a cooling feel, kind of a tingle on the skin, which it's a really odd thing to feel that just isolated to the cheek area, but you do feel it. I'm wearing both of these now. The tingle is in full force. I do tend to feel that for, I would say, around an hour or so after putting this stuff on. But what I'm trying to seek to answer for you in this video is, does it actually work? Do I actually see an increased fullness to my cheeks after I apply these products? Some of the claims, it says tighten, lift, and hydrate, and then in the description it says a plumping liquid blush infused with a rapid skin lifting system, VinUp lift to firm and tighten fine lines. This lightweight formula provides a soft diffused pop of color that leaves your skin feeling fresh and dewy all day long. So let's focus in on this Grande Pop plumping liquid blush first. So I chose the shade Mauvesicle. This is a pretty soft color, and I will say that the color is buildable. If you want to apply a little more, you'll see a little more color. One thing to be aware of is this is a wet, creamy, liquidy product, and if you're putting this on top of foundations, concealers, whatever, if you go putting on tons of this stuff, you may see some breakdown in the product underneath. So I've kind of tried to recognize that this is going to be a fairly subtle color on me, and I don't want to build it up to the extreme and then have like a patchy look on my cheeks because it has essentially wet down my foundation and maybe taken away some coverage. I don't feel like I get to that point with just a normal basic application, but you're just gonna dab it on, and they say blend it out with your fingers. I have no struggle blending this out. I don't feel like as you put it on, it doesn't set too fast. You have enough time to work it in. And I applied the dots kind of like up the cheek because I did look up a video on YouTube from this brand showing how they put it on, because I thought, well, maybe if I'm not applying enough of it, I won't see the effect. So I wanted to do it exactly how they advertise it. So I went up the cheek with like 3 dots and then blended it out. And then I would say it takes about a minute or 2 and you're going to feel this cooling sensation. You don't really feel it on contact like with the first drop on the skin, but after you blend it in, give it a couple of minutes, you feel sort of this cooling tingle. And it's not like this product's gonna blow your cheeks up like a balloon or anything, but it's very tricky. And I was discussing this with my mom because I was showing her myself after I put this stuff on, and I was like, Mom, do you think anything has actually changed here on my skin? She thought she definitely saw more fullness, and I said, but we've got to differentiate between what is color and maybe the little bit of glow that comes from this, because there is just a little bit of sheen that you get from this Mauvesicle shade. It might be that moisture content that it has as well. You don't get 100% dry down. This feels more like those serum type blushes, kind of like the Cosmetics, kind of like one that Physicians Formula has put out. This isn't a cheek stain like Benetint that goes for 100% dry down. There is some moisture on the skin and you just see this kind of glow plus the color. Looking up close, it does look really smooth across this area. The more I look at myself, the more I think there might be a little extra plumping going on. Now we go to the highlighter, and this is called Grande Glow, and it pretty much has the same claims on the box as the blush. It does mention that VinUp lifting system to firm and tighten fine lines. And as we get to the zone where you might apply highlight, you are kind of coming in on some areas of fine lines here. I'm not saying I've got a lot of it, but I've got a little bit there. So I guess what I'm saying is I think we've got an opportunity to see a result possibly in this area. And I chose the shade French Pearl. It seemed like the brightest, lightest highlighter type shade. And it is kind of a champagne color. If you look really, really closely at this, you can even see some micro fine sparkle particles. There are some teeny tiny bits there, and I don't think they're really unflattering or super obvious like when you look up close at the skin. And the application of this, in an effort not to go overboard with it, I just put a small streak of product on the top of each cheek, and then I kind of blended it a little bit downward toward the apple of my cheek, and also back a little bit more like in the direction of my temple. And once I got that all blended out, I could definitely see that there's this sheen now on top of the skin. In terms of texture that's left behind from these products, it's not sticky, but it's just smooth. Assuming you don't over apply the product, I don't think you're going to have anything objectionable there. I think it blends right in and kind of assumes the natural texture of your skin. So you can see the glow from the product. The question is, are you actually seeing any fullness? So here's a little analysis after I put that on. We're at the 5-minute mark past the highlighter being applied, and if you apply both of these products, you will get a more intense sensation or tingle on the skin. I definitely noticed that because as I've been testing these products over the past few days, one day I just did the blush alone, and I did feel that it was much more of a subtle feel on the skin. When you put on both, you really do feel it. Is it distracting? No. Is it painful? No. But just think of a cooling sensation, like if you've applied a cold pack to your skin or had maybe one of those cooling like eye mask things, you know, those little clings that sit right on your skin. If you had those sitting right on top of your cheeks for about an hour, you know, you definitely will feel that. After applying this highlight, I do feel like I am a little bit fuller right in this area. Maybe it was harder for me to tell with just the cheeks and down in this area because there's just a certain amount of fullness there anyway, and it's a little harder to gauge. But right down in here, I mean, we're closer to pretty much just, you know, touching the bone that's right there. And I do honestly feel like I'm seeing a bit more plumpness to the skin in that area. Now there is glow, there is a pearly sheen to these products, but I do kind of feel like I'm just seeing a little more fullness to my face there. Again, I had both of these products on. My mom swore that my skin looked just slightly puffier, just a little more filled out in the areas where I had it on. I am a little more skeptical, again, because I know I'm seeing glow, I know I'm seeing color. Any bit of added fullness that this is giving me is very subtle. I don't feel like it's going in and like taking out little fine lines in here, because if I look really closely, I can still see little texture. But is my skin perhaps a little bit fuller after putting this stuff on, or maybe even a little bit tighter feeling? I think I could definitely acknowledge that. Is this a product for you? Well, if you don't think you're gonna like that odd kind of pinpointed cooling feel right on your cheeks or on the tops of your cheeks, if you suspect that's going to be bothersome to you, this is something where that's going to hang around. For me, I feel it for about an hour, maybe give or take. Maybe it just depends on the amount of product I put on that day. I think in terms of just the quality of the products, like let's just talk about them makeup wise, not so much the effect you get from them. I think they're really nice because they're easy to manipulate cream products. They're easy to put on with your fingers. They don't set too fast. They don't leave a goopy texture behind. This blush shade is going to be pretty subtle. Like I said, it's a fine line with building it up. You will see more color, but you don't want to risk breaking down your foundation too much, so try not to overdo it. But I can't argue with the fact that I like the look. I like the finished look. I may be a little plumper. I certainly think I feel a little bit tighter. But as I look at the difference just in the pictures I took, you know, from my first picture before I put anything on to my last picture where I've got like both products on, I think I can see just a little added fullness there. And another thing I've noticed, I feel even more of a cooling sensation the more I move my face around. So if I'm talking more, I feel it more. If you're just more still, you're not really moving your face around too much, you may feel it a little bit less. But also as I smile, like as I go like, I feel like there's just a little different feeling after I've put these products on. Call me crazy, but I think they are working a little bit, and I think they're delivering in a very, very subtle way on those claims. I would love to hear your results with these. If you've tried this stuff, let me know in the comments section how it went for you. I know these are pretty new products, so maybe you haven't really seen them yet, but it's always fun to try something new. I hope this was informative for you, and I will see you again very soon. Bye, guys.